I'm going to hang out with today. I sort of feel a bit under pressure. There's Affordable Art Fair Brisbane coming up, and I need to have my works ready by the 15th of April for the catalogue. So having to do these sort of fast is sort of good, and yeah, it's just different when you feel like that kind of pressure, but that also can make you do more than you think you can. So I got that board ready and I gathered around some images that I painted before to bounce off from. I decided I'd like to do a lady sitting in the space and just see what happened around that. So I used that one in my hand there, and just organically what happened was it became obvious that I could just use that big space behind me to make it like a big abstract painting. So that made me really happy that I was keeping these sections of my paintings as I created new parts to them. And I was really interested as I looked at a gathering of the paintings, 11 paintings that I'm sending to Brisbane Affordable Art Fair. And 9 of them, I think, 7 or 9 of them, have got a framed portion of the abstract piece of the painting in them, which is very interesting to me that I'm finding those ways to keep a portion of the abstract. It's almost like I'm too scared to paint fully abstractly, but I love inviting it into these frames, even these really small frames, which are only 30 by 30 centimeters or 12 by 12 inches. And so I'm really curious about that, really curious. An artist here in Australia who's passed on now was John Olsen, and I loved his abstract work. He would do a thing that I think he referred to as taking a line for a walk, which is just the most gorgeous idea, don't you think? So I really would love to get into that side of art a bit more. It's interesting because really noticing that my business part of my art practice has been very challenging in the last 6, 8, 10 months, maybe since moving. And whatever financial things are happening in the world, they have an effect sometimes on our art business because it's seen as a luxury item and all of that. And really trying not to let that derail me and stop me from creating, because it's like opportunity has to find you ready. So having the Affordable Art Fair coming up in May, well, the artwork has to be ready a lot earlier than that. So it's like I need to just keep making and trusting in the process of this artist life that I've been working on for over 20 years. And sometimes it's really hard and almost devastating when you think that you are investing all of your time and you sometimes don't see the results or rewards for a long time after. So it's a very interesting life path that I've chosen, and not without its challenges, which all of life does have challenges, I have to remind myself. And, staying in gratitude helps me a lot better than being in worry. So yeah, that's what runs through my head quite a lot. And so you can see there I am bringing in another figure, and as I'll show you as this video progresses, I got very interested in how her face was so loose at the start, but it was really kind of lopsided, which I can show you in pictures that come shortly. But yeah, this is part of my process, is just filling all of the spaces in with a layer and see what happens. It's just you respond, you make a move and then respond and see what happens next. So yeah. as I'm watching back over this this video, I was thinking about how I liked how her face was looser, so I might have to try using open acrylics again. They behave more like oil paints, and so yeah, I'll be interested to see in the coming days when I might try some more figurative. Working with the opens. To tell you what, speaking of opens, they're actually really hard to get the tubes open. I think I was going to try and use them this time, but I couldn't get the lids off. So I'll have to have another go. It's a real bummer about paint sometimes is when the acrylic dries so hard that the lid's stuck fast. And I know that's what happened with my open acrylics. They're made by Golden and they're really gorgeous. And so I'm using acrylic here, although I suppose I sometimes add a medium to have the drying time slow down. It gives you more time to blend. So yeah, but I sort of want that painterly effect. I want them to be looser. So that's what I'm noticing as I look back at this one. But in the end, I left her quite sort of neat and tidy. I'll put some images at the end of this video of how she ended up. And what did I call her? Anna. I called her Anna. I'm just coming back in here after my lunch to revisit this lady who has been arriving this morning. The background started off a bit like that. You can still see parts of it there. And I looked through my Matisse book to get a bit of a jumping off point. And so that lady there is the jumping off point that I've used for this one. And then I'm going ahead and making it mine, just by the way I paint. And so now it's come time where I'm wondering if I should start something else and come back to this another time, so that I give it a chance to just rest and for me to feel into it. Because there was a looseness to the face that I had earlier, which I can flick back and show you in the photos. And then when I did the reverse image, I could see it was like two halves of a very different face, or the heights. And so I made some changes to bring, because this eye was a lot lower than this one. And I think some artists in times of old, they might leave it like that. But I didn't. I decided to change it. But I can just sort of feel as I glance back at this, having looked back at the first how it was, and then here, this one's starting to look quite controlled, even though I'm trying to keep a looseness about this painting for the fun of it, for the exercise of what if I try and do it loosely. And I feel like if I stay with it right now, I might just keep tightening, and that still may end up happening. Excuse the noise next door. It's just really great timing. They're doing building project. I might stop this because it might be too loud. Good morning, Ilya. I've just come back in the morning, and I can see I'm going to have to clean this up before I start today. But this is what's come about this week. That's where she's up to. I did a little bit on her hand yesterday. Her hand just looked really tiny, so what I did, I just held my own hand to get an idea of the proportions. And what I noticed was I'd had her thumb coming out probably here. So just seeing the shape of our hands, the thumb being quite a way up further from the finger. Probably it's still a little low, but I think it's sort of working okay. So that's what I was drawn to adjust with that one. And then this one I'm going to hang out with today. I sort of feel a bit under pressure. There's Affordable Art Fair Brisbane coming up, and I need to have my works ready by the 15th of April for the catalogue. So having to do these sort of fast is sort of good, and yeah, it's just different when you feel like that kind of pressure, but that also can make you do more than you think you can. So this lady here, I think I videoed a little bit of it, and I'll be able to make a video with it soon. But just the look on her face, oh my gosh. I've heard it said that you paint yourself, and so I just crack up sometimes with the looks on these people's faces. Yeah, they're deep in thought, and I guess that's sort of reflective of me sometimes, or a lot. So I need to clean up. So we're in a rental house, and the dishwasher just got replaced because it died. And before it went away, I was using this on the top of the bench, and I thought I might just keep that. I've had one before in my other studio, but what I noticed was brushes and things would fall through the bottom. So this time I thought, oh, I might just put something at the bottom, at the base of each area. But just now cleaning up, I've noticed that, you know, you just need to put things with a bit of a fatter base, but it's a great holder for all the scrapers. Like all the scrapers and the palette knives can all live together, and scissors as well. So love it. So yeah, don't throw away your old dishwasher basket when you get a new dishwasher. Handy. Another little studio tip. This is a meat tray from the supermarket. I buy mince for Aura, make her a casserole with it. And I thought, with this bumpy surface, I'd just give it a try, and I did. I took these outside with the hose just now, these brushes, and when they're a bit full of paint and stuff, using this rough surface like this was really helpful at getting the paint out of the bristles. And I don't think it does it too much damage. I mean, I'm not good with my brushes. I'm really bad with them. So just trying to get some more paint out of them was progress, I think. So there's another weird tip from the kitchen to the pantry, to the studio. So I've made a bit of progress here with tidying up the surfaces, putting all the little bottles of things back where they go. Oh, I've got a bit of a traffic jam of brushes and things here. And I forgot about coming over this side. I was working over the other side of the table, but I forgot how much light pours in here during the day. It's really quite gorgeous. So as you can see, I have this set up now, and that's kind of what it looked like before this. That's kind of what it looked like before that. But I've been checking in with myself whether these two will be more of the sort of table chair interior type theme or another figure. That's what I'm contemplating and sort of waiting on the inspiration to arrive, sort of, but I've kind of got to nudge it along a bit, I think. I don't have weeks ahead of me, I have only days for this group. And I just really love having pairs of things. I don't know, I just like that. There's something about this lady that's making me really happy. she hasn't got a problem with how she's feeling. Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, she looks...
As you said, you've said, put it in the question that is religion, but there is also Buddhist psychology, there is also Buddhist philosophy, and these
So this is the area. I've been hanging out here today after doing those larger ones, and just had the fun idea with this setup that I had these things set up, which I'll have to redo again to see my shadows from these. But I thought it would be fun to put one of my paintings in another painting. So I do this from time to time, putting, like featuring a little Matisse painting. But this one feels kind of fun to be putting one of my own paintings inside another one of my paintings. So having a bit of fun with this and just trying to get the color scheme by using the colors that I've got. So I painted the background a neutrally green, and then realized, hang on, I need to bring in the others. So I've brought a layer of pink, which I've used on the chair. Actually, this one, Brilliant Alizarin. It's quite yummy. And so I just used that as it was, didn't mix it with anything. And then I've done a coat of orange, and then I need to do something else. So I was excited to leave the leaves as they were, but they just weren't quite talking to me in how I want them to look. So I need to kind of play around a bit more with the leaves perhaps. And the book, doing a bit of that lettering is going to be tricky because it's very neat, but so that needs to happen on that book. And also to do the lady's face. She hasn't got any face on that one. So yeah, I'll just sort of do an in progress piece on this. So I've changed the background in a sort of a neutral grey. Not sure I'm liking it. I decided to do these collage flowers. I'm just going to pop them around. They can be moved. Because I was looking at the colour scheme here, and just sort of enjoying the yellow, so I thought it might be nice to have some more yellow. Then I might have to do, or might want to do, a little yellow something here, so there would be like a triangle of yellow talking to each other. Not sure about the colours here. When you have kind of a feature like that, they are supposed to be the heroes, not the background. But I'm sort of tempted to get the yellow paint and just make a yellow wall, which I would never normally do. It just might be fun to do just for the fun of it. But yeah, this has me wondering. This one has me wondering. I'm kind of conscious of having, I've got kind of some sort of a mood going on with this one and this one. They're a little old worldy, or they're a different sort of a vibe, and so I guess that doesn't matter when it's a piece of art in a room. Artist license, go for your life, I think. So just having a play, see where to take this one. There's a certain sort of a harmony so far, for the most part. But yeah, I think it's time for me to go and make my cup of chai, and I'll hang out with this for a little bit and see where does it want to go next. So I decided to bring these together because they are going to go together to Brisbane Affordable Art Fair next month. So I just wanted to have a little meeting with them and just see how are they going. Are they, I don't know, I feel like I would like them in a way to relate to each other in some ways. Not quite sure. I love that thing where Austin Kleon says, when it's all done by the same artist, they are related. I love that. I don't know what's bothering me at the moment. I think I was over lunch thinking I needed to... I was thinking about if I needed to bring some blue into this one, but really... I don't think that's necessary. They need to stand alone on their own as well. So maybe I've sort of confused myself a tiny bit by putting a smaller version of that into that. So she obviously looks different. She's like a different person, but in a similar design. That's fine. I'm just sort of pondering. I think what it is, I'm wondering about the depth of that pinky red that I've been using here. And I really love the light and brightness of it over here. So I was sort of wondering, oh, okay, what would happen if I lightened it up a little bit in these. She's quite that's quite deep and dark and moody. It's almost like a winter vibe. And these ones are more sort of spring and summery, which is fine. I mean, it's just me sort of, I won't say over-analysing. It's me gathering the information that I'm feeling from them and sort of trying to feel into, okay, so does it need changing or anything? When I look at this one here, I'm actually thinking not a lot needs changing. What I do plan to do is the shadows. So I need to just set up the light and do that. So that'll all make a big difference. I haven't been, I've got to do a label on that book, but I haven't been strict to be doing the cover of that book true to form. Like those flowers on the cover there are abstracted, messy. They don't look anything like the real book, but that's okay. I'm giving myself license to do it that way if I want. Yeah, so that one will look different with a shadow. And I guess I'm hanging out with this one. Is it too dark? Does it need lightening or anything? Or does it really quite suit that sort of deep, that she's got, it's a real moody painting. So I think I like in some ways that there is definitely different feelings and different moods, which is lovely when something's going to an art show, because there's all different kinds of people coming through, and having a variety available also makes sense, you know. So anyway, just bringing you along for the ride, having a little meeting with myself and sharing that with you. Yeah. I'm just sharing a little bit of these nature pictures with you. If you see that gap out there in the ocean where the sun's shining through, that's the entry to the Sydney Harbour. So Philip and I have been trying to, actually over Easter, 3 out of the 4 days, we took ourselves to a different beach each day, and that some of them had a walk. So this one has this beautiful walk, and it shows the entry to the Sydney Harbour, which is really quite spectacular actually. And there was a tugboat shooting water out, a couple of tugboats behind a ship or boat. Yeah, we think to keep the small craft out of the way. And this is the other direction around the other side, further into the harbour there. And we were looking for a place for a picnic. We had a nice big walk. We were looking for a place for a picnic, so we sat at this edge with this rock ledge sort of thing, just looking out to the water. And not long after we sat down, this family of magpies joined us, and it was so special. I was beside myself. I'm such a lover of birds, and to have these ones just come up so close to us, they were so friendly, and they had their child, or their juvenile, I think maybe it's called. And we proceeded to get out our little jar cups that we'd made the night before with a bit of yogurt, berries, and I put my seedy muesli in when I get to the breakfast spot because I like for it to be crunchy. But it had pepitas, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds. So I picked out some because I thought, I can't not give them some. They're right here looking at us, and they kept going. Philip and I were sitting there looking out to the water, and they just kept looking at us. And this is me with my camera without any zoom. That's how close they were. And they were going from one side of us to the next and just staring at us with their little eyes, as if to say, well, are you going to share your breakfast? What's going on? I think maybe they've been doing this for a long time. They say they're territorial and they stick together, the couple. So I was just besotted. So Philip's sitting there, and there's one of them, maybe the male. I don't know. I was thinking that was the male. I don't know why I got that feeling. He's taller and slender. See how he's very interested. Oh, it was the most wonderful time, and I came away thinking, oh my God, I wish I could have magpies nearer where we live. I've not seen any in my backyard because we have noisy miners who seem to kick out everybody else in the vicinity. So we have plenty of miners, but not very many other species of bird. And you wouldn't believe it, but the very next day, after I'd said to my friend, I wish I had magpies, the very next day, this little one showed up outside, a little butcher bird who's a relative of the magpie. And it was so wonderful. It was right at my back door, and I was thrilled.
Here these both are finished and framed, ready for the Affordable Art Fair. And I have a confession to make. I did not finish up with the shadows that I really intended to do for that still life one here. I tried to. I had shadows painted in, and it was a hell of a mess. I also realized that I had changed the painting, the things that I've got in the vase so much that the shadow material I was using in my own vase at home was no longer relating to what I'd painted. And I realized, I've more to learn about how to mix the shadow color. It's moments like that I realize, I guess you would have learned that in art school. I didn't go to art school. So I'm learning as I go all the time. And so I might have to research a bit more. I've got an incredibly good book on color and haven't bothered reading it. I kind of just like getting in and doing stuff. I even spend too much time playing around on a painting, on a canvas, and repainting it 17 times seems to be my preference over doing exercises on paper and stuff. So these are the finished faces that they ended up with. See how it became quite neat? But I was satisfied with the look on her face. I think that's what I came to. And this is what happens with a deadline, is I had to stop somewhere. I had to make myself keep going and bring them to a place where I was satisfied to call them done. Not perfect, but done, So yeah, I think this could have looked really interesting with the shadows, but what I found was the shadows that I was putting in were covering up the whole book. And I wasn't sure, and it was taking up a lot of that white space. So it was sort of darkening everything. And so instead I chose to do the background in quite a sort of similar grey-ish to the book, so that it wasn't a thing. The background became not an issue. It was neutral, and let the flower, there's so many things to look at in this painting. The background needed to just be a non-event in a way, or not arguing with them. So there's sort of plenty of colour, plenty of interest for the eye, and in the end, that's that's a satisfying result, and I'll be really interested to see how they go at the art show. I love it. As I'm looking at them, I can see those 3 green vases. I've told you before, I love green glass vases. So there's 3 in this frame, and I'm very happy about that. And those lovely green dresses that the women are wearing. So yeah, what do you think? Put a green heart below maybe if you're a green fan, if you really liked how these came out as well. I'd love it to have that kind of feedback. That interaction is lovely. Okay, thank you. Bye. That's all, Laura.